Tell us about Cyc-Lok. What's it about? How did it come about?
Cyc-Lok was established in 2014. We're a Carlow-based company, and what we provide and what we've basically designed from scratch is access-controlled, secure bike parking lockers that are for public and private use.
And what's the technology behind it?
We have our own bespoke hardware software, and basically it's park by text, except you bring your own bike. So we've designed the wheel, I suppose, in that it's similar to what's out there for cars, but we've basically put it for bikes. So you can park your bike, but you pay for the time that you use. You're not just parking for the year. So it's allowing people, tourists, people who cycle once a year to people who cycle 365 days of the year, availability of safe and secure bike parking at their destination.
Give me a typical scenario of how it works.
Okay, so we have a unit in Pearse Street Station and one in Houston Station in Dublin. Somebody arrives in the morning from the train from Mullingar or Carlow, and they pick up their bike in a Cyc-Lok unit, which has been there from the night before. They cycle the last couple of kilometres to work, and then when they come back in the evening, they drop their bike back in a Cyc-Lok unit, and they get back on the train and go home. So you're creating a kind of multimodal transport.
And do you see this expanding around the world? I mean, because this sounds like it has wheels.
Yes, well, everyone cycles everywhere in the world. Some cities are more cyclised than others, but there is a push for governments and councils to create more users, to have more cyclists, to encourage cycling, not only for well-being and healthiness, but also because there's only so much space that this world has, and there are so many cars and cities are becoming gridlocked. So they need to find other modes of transport, but the problem with cycling and creating more and more people to cycle is infrastructure and parking. So people are afraid that their bike will get stolen. So we've solved that problem in that we've created a safe and secure bike parking product that can be available on streets.
Dash is a service that's designed to pay taxi drivers and get students home safe even when they have no cash, no bank card and no phone.
How does that work?
It's actually, everybody asks that question, but it's actually a very simple concept. So students can go on the website and they create an account by just adding a photo of themselves and a method of payment for taxis. So they sign up for free and then either top the account up with credits or add a bank card and just leave it there. Parents actually also have the option to add a secondary bank card in case the student one goes to zero. That's the account created online, and we're developing an app for taxi drivers. So if you jump into a taxi, I know, worst case scenario, if you're a girl and you've lost your handbag, you've no phone, you've nothing, and you're a nightmare for any taxi driver, all you've got to do is hop into a taxi, tell the driver your name and the unique 4-digit PIN that you set to your account. When the driver enters that into the app, it allows him to view your profile. He identifies you by your photo, he sees you've got a method of payment, and then whatever the fare comes to, he takes you home at no extra cost.
And in terms of security, what's to stop students abusing things? Because students sometimes maybe run amok, or their friends might try to use the system. How do you make sure it's secure?
Secure. Well, basically, we're going to have a real-time account, fraud authentication, so we can check all the transactions. But on top of that, it's photo ID first of all. So when you get into a taxi, it's the onus on the driver to check your photo ID, and then the second way of getting through is your 4-digit PIN. So you might know someone's PIN, but you wouldn't have their photo. And if there's activity on the account that isn't normal, we can detect it, and just the idea is to minimise that as low as possible. But we ran the prototype and tested, and it's been going good so far.
Do you see a possibility of bringing it beyond students and maybe to people if you do, for example, or you find yourself in the city and you lose your wallet or your phone?
Definitely. See, the whole idea started last year when we had to come up with a solution to a student problem, and all over Ireland, UK, America, there's a problem with students not getting home safe. So the initial idea was to get students home and overcome the safeguard taxi scheme. So there's an old system in place where if students are in that situation, they can hand the taxi driver their student card. The idea is that the student comes back at a later date, pays the fare and gets the card back, but this drives taxi drivers up the wall because students don't come back, they never pay the fare, and as you can see. So we're putting all that into an IT framework, and once we focus on the student market because they're the troublemakers and get that right, then the plan is to build a solid product and scale it to all users everywhere then.
How did deepstreamIO come about?
So our co-founders are from investment banking industry predominantly. They worked on some awesome development behind the stuff for real-time trading. So we took that technology, open sourced it, and now anybody can build anything that powers real-time technologies like messaging apps or geolocation. So if you want to order a taxi in real time, anything that needs here and now, what our backend does is allow you to build on that.
Is there any similarity between Amazon Web Services, or where do the similarities lie?
Yeah, so it sits on top of Amazon Web Services. It's just you can just plug in and work on top of it. It's quite similar to Firebase. If a lot of people are quite used to hearing Google's Firebase, so we are a similar thing. We have different scalability and speeds. And
would it be fair to describe it as kind of like a Swiss Army knife for startups?
Absolutely, yes, yeah. If you don't want to worry about too much of your infrastructure and your back end, we can certainly take care of that for you, and you can just make your apps look beautiful. And so we're launching a platform which is essentially what that will do. It'll take all the pain out of the back end for apps, mobile apps, web apps, IoT technologies, and anything really that's the future of tech.
And how do companies work with you? Do they can they get this on log on to it, or do they have to work with you guys on a consultative basis?
No, it's the server is open source. So you just go on the website, install now, and away you go. You can have fun, have a play with it. If you want us to take care of more for you with the service side of the business, then you can join the platform, which will be deepstreamHub, and then we can work with you on top of that in consultancy. You can submit support tickets, and we have a team based in Berlin who is very excited to help anybody build whatever they want and make it really, really good.
Enjoyed this video? Click here for more news from siliconrepublic.com or follow us on social media.